I mean, if there is potential for it, I'd say it would be at most probably a 2-1 split in that fashion. I feel like more realistically, though, we're probably going to see DaHanG just absolutely hanging out there with a 3-0.
I think what's going to be good from Sib is if we can see him get a game to within like 1 or 2 kills. If he can do that and he can look like he's making a comeback and he's fighting hard against the clock to get things going, then I think that's going to be really, really encouraging from him. But we're going to have to see.
Yeah, we will find out very soon as we're getting into the action right now, and we're going to kick this one off between Sib and DaHanG. For me, I think you're right. It's going to be more of a benchmark, honestly, to see where he sits right now in the grand scheme of Quake. But we are in with the action.
Yeah, we've got Sib up first. He hasn't taken any items yet. A little bit of pressure. I like what he's doing. Again, DaHanG wants to get himself on weapons. Sib just taking a moment to punish that. He's also got a big delay on the heavy. This is an absolutely fine start from Sib. There's going to be another take on the LG. He knows he's gone for it. He's got the shield out. He'll take a little, but we'll try and push forward with the LG. This is a great start for Sib. Beautifully done from him on the turret! It's such a big target as clutch, and Sib is going to feel robbed right there.
Oh, that's the second turret kill that we've seen come through today that just feels like it didn't need to happen. That's rough. It's not really what you want to see, but it does put them into a position to instantly equalize that, with both of them now having 1 frag to their name. Not even a minute into this one, Zoot. This has already kicked off with a banger, and it looks like it can carry on like that, being quite explosive as well, as the zapping is coming through. DaHanG trying to get the execution off, the rapid adjustment there coming through from the mouse, but he is bouncing all over the place. Clutch is clean out of there.
So Sib right now needs to slow things down. He doesn't want to fight for like a minute. He doesn't have his ability up for 30 seconds regardless. He's just going to get caught out in the midst. There's going to be LG blocked from the doorway. He needed to just be quiet and sit in corners where he's got an easy escape option. And at the moment, he hears the heavy, so he needs to keep solid timing of that. He can't challenge for the mega health. He just needs to try and hope he can get some weapons.
Oh, straight back in. This could be the second follow-up frag coming through with that lightning gun in a matter of seconds. Instead, though, favors to switch out to the rail and do a little bit of scouting around. He's actually been able to rebuild his stack up fairly effectively, but the same cannot be said for Sib, as he's in a bit of an awkward spot, but he does have that shield back up at the very least to try and mitigate some of the damage.
Yeah, it's important now for DaHanG to keep piling on pressure of the damage. Oh, shield goes up, and that's the worst possible outcome for Sib. He just uses shield. Reap no benefits from it. Now is a fresh spawn, and DaHanG's going to be hunting. Sib had to just let that death go. As soon as he ran into DaHanG, just allow it to happen. Don't use the ability. And I think Sib is just, he's not slowing the game down enough. He's still trying to meet objectives fast. Whereas his plan at the moment is, I don't want to fight till 5-minute mark. That's the kind of mentality I want to see from him. If the opportunity opens up before that, fine. But he should be thinking, all right, let's not fight at all.
Yeah, and it's also the fact there that that was the one opportunity where DaHanG, someone that is actually incredibly precise when it comes down to his railing capabilities, like literally call him 4 because he wants more when it comes down to being able to just execute with this lightning gun. He was low on the ammo now, but finally he's been able to get more, gets out the shot with a rail as well to try and tag them down and do a little bit of damage towards Sib. Both of them restocking themselves though, putting themselves into fairly healthy positions here to at least try and ignore the scraps they've slowly been having.
There's heavy. Sib's going to get this. This is actually really good for him. He's got the shield available and he can go for the attack. This is really good from Sib. DaHanG is the one who has to run a bit. And now for Sib, you don't want to push for the frag as such. You want to just own the control out over around mega area. He needs to slow down. He's not listening exactly to where DaHanG's coming from. He still gets the mega health, but that was really close to being disastrous for Sib.
Yeah, that could have been absolutely outrageous at this point. 3-1 still as we get towards the 4-minute mark. Although the damage is definitely starting to come through. The lightning gun is in the hands of DaHanG, but it's low on ammunition. He's going to have to switch back towards the rail gun. But they aren't continuing on. They're not just going to run headstrong into each other and try and take themselves on. They will take a moment out. They're going to back off, chill out a little bit, and reset.
Mega in a moment. Sib did see him over there, so he's not re-peeking the angle immediately. Sib's being very fast around the map and being very good on the light armors. That's one thing I'm enjoying a lot from him. And he's also pressuring when DaHanG takes the heavy. He's making sure that he does a bit of damage too. So that's also very important to do that. Sib's stack now is enormous. It's about in the next 20 seconds, or actually I really hope before the Mega even, is when I want to see him assert himself on the map.
Well, bounds around the corner, both of them exchanging the railgun rounds there as they're trying to pick themselves apart. He's got him so low, DaHanG on 14 eventually goes down as he will finish him off. It was only a matter of time there before he gracefully flicked across him with that lightning gun.
That was really good because he didn't even use his ability to secure that kill. He's going to force it out now. He should still get the frag. That's 3 for 3. This time the turret will die. And we've got a game on our hands here. Sib's playing incredibly solidly. DaHanG is going to rocket himself. He was hoping for the greater good, but it's actually going to put him down at 2.
Sib is so low though. Just below 40 HP here. He has to bail out. He's got no armor to work with. He's just launching himself around. Luckily though, the movement's working out quite nicely for them. He's fairly elegant for a big robot-y boy.
He's got it. Okay, he's done now. He's going down. Good rocket damage. But he had to keep getting on the run, maybe listen out closer over near heavy or get up the bounce pad. He's trying to make some decisions without knowing exactly where DaHanG's going, and that's really dangerous.
Ooh, the double tap there off with a rocket doesn't leave him in a great spot in terms of his overall HP pool. DaHanG definitely the one that looks a little bit healthier here. Sib green around the gills, but he starts to patch himself back up.
This is really interesting at the moment. I'm curious how DaHanG's going to approach it, because he needs to get the damage from a distance. I feel like what DaHanG has to do is almost more straightforward, but still technically harder, because you've got to be very consistent with the damage all round. Whereas you've got to be poking and prodding every 15 seconds. You need to be averaging 50 to 80 damage. And Sib is actually piling on the pressure massively. He's going to go up the bounce pad. DaHanG needs to get out. Almost a rocket jump is worth it, but he could get railed, and Sib is going to land it. Has the lead at the moment versus DaHanG. This time the turret will barely even get 15. I think that's all he got.
Yeah, looks like just a small little chip on the paintwork there for Clutch, as he is just sprinting his way around still, getting himself set up in a nice position to try and expect the push to come around. That was a rapid flick. That could have been so beautiful if he landed it. Ooh.
There we go. Holding on to heavy, he did just hear DaHanG. What side did he hear him? Okay, it was Mega that just got taken. I don't think Sib should play defensively as such. I think he needs to still prod with a bit of damage. If he can get himself to the sort of 8 minute 30, then I think he can actually run with the lead. DaHanG's got to do as much as he possibly can over here. He's catching him with the LG. Only 2 health left, and DaHanG finds him. And I think at that stage, Sib, he overcommitted to a fight where all he wanted to do is force DaHanG away. He didn't want to go... He shouldn't have gone in for the kill. He should have forced DaHanG to rethink his decisions.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, it does leave us tied up. And it is close in terms of the timing as well. The lightning gun should definitely give him the advantage if he can try and catch up with him. Mitch is out, though, as he went for the follow-up, and the rocket gets him so low! And there's the finisher, as he will not give him any time to breathe. Sib gunned down in the streets as DaHanG looks to try and further this lead even more, grabbing himself some more rail to work with as he sets himself up on a pedestal now, Zoot.
Yeah, 2 minutes to go. It's definitely not all clear-cut for DaHanG. He has to keep this damage output. He's going to meet Sib, who's hit some great rockets at the moment. He needs to find a way out. This time doesn't go for the rocket jump, but he's trying to do Ring of Roses again. And Sib ties it up. His stack is fragile, however. I actually don't know which way this is going to go. Sib's playing a very strong game at the moment. His fundamentals have been brilliant. And he's giving himself a huge chance to win this map and get some points off of DaHanG. Oh, mid-air. He has to back away somehow. And DaHanG cannot justify chasing, so they'll both go to their own corners.
They're both going to give each other the respect that they deserve. 2 incredibly formidable players right now. Sib showing that he's on a fairly equal playing field when it comes down to the living legend of DaHanG. Tied up, 5-5, the final minute, the last 60 seconds, Zoot. It all comes down to this.
He's overplaying this Mega Health a bit, I think. It's been up forever. He just needs to take it, otherwise he's going to psych himself out. Yeah, okay, now I actually don't know what he's doing. Oh, Mega's up! Yeah, it's been up for about 20 seconds or 30 seconds.
He gets away with being able to grab it at least, and the increase on the armor.
Yeah, nothing. It could have actually gone wrong, but DaHanG would have assumed he took it. At least, well, maybe a 10-second delay, but it's like a 25-second delay or so. It's a lot.
Really leaving it down to the last minute here. Both of them willing to try and accept overtime as their fate, because they know no matter what, if they keep it in the position they're in, they only need to play for one frag, and that seems to be what the call is going to be. Waste that time, get it into OT, and then play for the final fight, the final kill that will decide things. But that is going to be the turret back up just as we get into overtime now, as it will flip on over. It's all down to sudden death as the rockets start getting scattered. Both of them timid as hell.
So Sib needs to get basically full natural stack and either a mega or heavy, and then he just needs to get into a fight somehow. And the only condition of that fight is just ensuring that the turret's not doing damage at the same time. I really firmly think that Sib's got a big advantage, and that if you put it on paper, he should be winning this.
I think Sib looks paranoid right now, though. You can see him clearing so many angles so rapidly, although it looks like he might have an inkling, potentially finding an audio cue there. As DaHanG going in for the backstab potentially here. He's basically on the top rope, ready to go in for the backbreaker. That was an incredible rail. Ooh. A lovely shot to land to soften up his prey.
Another one of those, and then DaHanG can start feeling a lot more confident. I'd actually like to see one of them delaying their item, because then it can set them up for controlling the entire map. But it's quite a brave move to make. Sib does want to go back through the teleporter, because DaHanG's already got the information he wants. But these are brilliant rails that we're getting from Sib. He needs to get out of here, though. What? There's the health! Oh my god, he puts the shield up. Mega's going to be up in a moment. But he needs to leave completely. DaHanG is going to rocket jump up. 11 health to go. And although he tries to find the damage, DaHanG locks down the final kill.
As if that's the way the game goes as well. The fact that they literally accepted their fate. They went for the slow minute into the overtime. That's the way it ends. Both of them hitting just miraculous shots. Like 1 in a million landers that were just coming through. That was actually pretty beautiful. As an opening map, I'm excited.
I mean, Sib definitely, he played his heart out right there, and he showed a very, very strong game, very composed, but I think in sudden death he psyched himself out a little bit. That just before he did lose the game, he was moving through choke points, which he knows DaHanG can be using, and he was leaving himself vulnerable. And he wasn't using the shield, so his stack was just tick down 90, tick down 90. Yeah. He had to either not be there at all, or he had to put the shield up in order to try and escape. So well played to DaHanG as well for picking apart that opportunity and executing.
Yeah, the judgment decisions that were made through both of the players there in that were pretty darn interesting. A couple of moments with Sib where it looked like he basically was literally so much in his own head, though, for a few parts. Although, I mean, fair play to him. He put up a very, very formidable fight. The fact that it literally ends in the style it did shows that there's not that much of a skew in DaHanG just being this unbeatable madman. It's the fact that both of them were actually fairly evenly matched into that.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of what I was hoping Sib would achieve, I kind of think that he's achieved it now in the first map.
Yeah.
Now the next step is, can he do it again? Or can he even go one better, and can he even take a map?
Because he could have taken that there.
Yeah.
Like, it literally came down to what, maybe like 60 damage of a difference that could have swung the game in his favor. So compared to kind of what I expected on paper getting into this is way closer than I ever thought it to be.
That jump across is one that Sib absolutely shouldn't have made, because it could have gone all wrong at that stage anyway. And then the chase, I mean, he knows, okay, I can afford to take 90 damage. I got the LG out. He's stuck in a corner. What am I going to do? Go passive? No way.
Yeah, no, it's not going to go down like that, but it will be going down as a victory there for DaHanG on the first map, of course. A nice way to open things up, at least. Although, I feel like, again, that was one where we saw a very good execution of how to actually play clutch properly. Like, everyone's actually been like pretty on the ball with him today.
I think even like Savrazy and Wenger would actually be like, you know what, you didn't do a bad job at all, Sib. That was like really good to see from him. We have got Vale next, where things can maybe get a little different. We've got Galena versus Solag. Sib using Galena, and Solag by DaHanG, of course. This is another slightly interesting one. It's going to be a very different pace. Clutch wants to fight generally at his own moments, whereas Solag is happier to fight at any time, just because Solag is crazy and you can get that movement, you can go around the corners. It's not just like the straight line speed, you can be a bit more dynamic. But I wonder, it's going to be control-based, of course, and it's going to be about the top map control. Can Sib set up with the totems, or can Sorlag actually get the early game control and make Galena really, really scared on the map and have to hide in those corners and go where she doesn't really want to be? She'd much rather be hauling all the items.
Yeah. You want to set yourself into a position where essentially you have overall map control, which as long as you can negate that and force them into a negative position, well, we'll see how that affects things once we get into the swing of things, of course. But as an opening map, it definitely bodes us for a nice sort of, overview of the way this is going to go.
Yeah, completely. I mean, it sounds really straightforward. It's like, what you want is you want control. But what you need, especially versus Sorlag, who has some control, already gets like a share of control off the spawn, that's why it's even more important.
Yeah. Well, it looks like we're delving straight back into the action now, though, as we will carry on with this series. Map 2 between Sib and DaHanG. As we kick it off already with a high-octane action, it looks like it's going to be an all-out brawl to start us off here. The rockets being transferred across as they look to try and deal a bit of damage.
Oh, careful. Let's get another health bubble. That acid taking a lot of time to disappear. And we've got no totem for a little bit of time, but he's going to try and set himself up here. Manages to avoid taking damage. Is pushing forward through the acid a little bit. Doesn't take much damage at all. And now DaHanG is looming over this heavy, and eventually they will trade back onto each other. So I could call that basically a win for Sib, but now can he do the damage? He misses the initial rocket. Has got a turret. Back over to 100-100 essentially. And DaHanG breaks free a little, but only for a moment. The lightning gun for Sib. Very, very solid. Has a decent amount of health and armor remaining. Now he can get himself more LG ammunition. And DaHanG just running right into him. I think he even got the lightning gun in all of that. And there's very limited weaponry that Sib has. He'll get more rocket ammo. But DaHanG's just gone wild. I was not expecting that pace. But it makes sense. He shouldn't have been able to get a lightning gun.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to start it off with one way, do it with style, go in for the full frontal assault, and that's what we saw there. It works well as a nice way to initiate things here, as already the first 1 minute and 30 has been nothing but an all-out war between them both. At this point, smart play to come through, try and scavenge as much of those hourglasses as possible, try and get your totems up quicker, because we know how beneficial they can be.
Yeah, and he is about to actually have triple totems, so he wants to put them down pretty much as soon as possible. There it is, he gets himself to the full 175, basically, well, 350 collective health and armor. That's an amazing amount of health to have. He's landing good damage, rockets to rails. Sib is looking great right now. DaHanG is just not punishing enough early enough. And he seems to be going more about the sort of mobility everywhere. But maybe go back to basics now. Just find those totems, because you know they're up, and you know that Sib is getting an inherent health advantage over you.
You need to find them at this point. Otherwise, it's going to make it such a struggle going forward. Tanks coming back through as the rockets are just being constantly casted out. Using the high ground as an advantage, going full Skywalker as he's going to try and back himself over. DaHanG gliding through the air as he'll be hanging in position. Shot straight down, though, as he's plucked out of the sky by Sib. 3 kills already. He knows how to start it off with style points here.
Sib is really giving us so much more than I was expecting. I'm loving what we're seeing from this. And, can't really talk about DaHanG straight. DaHanG took a map off Rafa last weekend. Like, DaHanG's playing pretty well lately. This is huge credit to Sib.
Ooh, the rail was actually really cheeky. The fight as well, look at the movement between these two. They've got so much grace there, the nice effective offensive totem placement that comes down. It's only 1 out of the 3, but at least he starts to rebuild himself into a power play.
Off the bounce pad, easy damage. Oh, this is free almost.
Not again.
Oh, this is going to be another! There's the rail to hang up and down. I mean, that's the worst moment that could possibly happen, I think.
Yeah.
Second worst is, and this map is just falling out the map when you're trying to get through the teleporter. But that's the feels bad moment. 2 rockets. Can he get the rail afterwards? He's got the damage over time on him, but he's going to remedy that. Watch out, mate. So much acid everywhere. Almost locks down his 5th. DaHanG's got to be really careful, because this game might start getting away from him.
That was nice. Follow-up connection as well, but it will not matter. Finally, DaHanG is able to bounce himself back into the attack as he goes on the offensive, cutting his way clean through him there off the back of his lightning attack. 4 minutes on the clock. There is a bit of a difference between them both in the overall rack-up of frags they've been able to find. He's on the hunt for the totems as he looks to try and tackle the troublesome effect that they have.
He wants to just get into a fight now, Sib close range with as minimal entry damage taken as possible. Oh, that was a beautiful angle from DaHanG.
That was sexy.
And Heavy's going to be up shortly, so timing is pretty much perfect. He doesn't really want to be later, which is why he didn't go back through the teleporter, because he knows he can risk losing out on the Mega. And he's going to lose anyway, and there's some great rails, but back through the teleporter. Sib still manages to hit the rocket. He does this kind of stutter step. That just looks amazing.
This has actually provided us with so much already. And we're not even fully halfway through yet, although DaHanG, the executioner into that one, as he follows it up with a rapid double tap to take him down and really start to try and throw Sib towards the back burner. DaHanG, if he can carry on like that and show us this level of precedent he's setting, potentially he can get back into the game here. There is no chance of counting him out anywhere near yet, as the shots he is landing are so precise.
Can he find some more? Rails have been hot. That's great damage. There's plenty of time now till the items. You just go in for the kill. You make it 3 to 5. You can't find him. Sib stayed up at the top. He was slightly deceptive just then, and he's just trying to slowly heal. He doesn't need to urgently seek the items. He just needs to not be seen. That is all. And at the moment, he's running around. He's trying to find him. Light armor did get taken by Sib. He's trying to back up. The nail gun damage can be good. And it's forced to hang out of position for the Mega, but he is going to swing on by there so quickly.
The heal comes through. Trying to double down with the lightning gun as he spams across, casting out that beam of destruction. He's not in a bad spot here, though. If DaHanG can keep on playing with this, the movement is definitely coming in to favor him as he darts his way around, has control as well, so he knows that Sib's going to have to come towards him. Although he loses out in that fight, it looked like he had the advantage going into it.
He just couldn't. He just simply couldn't hit enough. I think, honestly, the heavy armor was blocking his view a little bit, and because he's bigger, then Sib can just still see the majority of the player model. So although the fight started well, I think he had a little line of sight trouble. And Sib just needs to keep on playing this solid game. I mean, what he's doing at the moment has been working. He's not punishing, though, at all on the heavy, which does worry me. He might have had a mistime on the Mega health, and he definitely shouldn't be here. And no, he's going to get... Yeah. I mean, it's kind of what happened to DaHanG, but it just happened a lot faster.
This is actually a pretty good spot to be in. So if he gets the follow-up here, and he will, that now means he only requires 1 kill to equalize this. We're still going to have an actual fair amount of time to play with as well to keep this one going. DaHanG, though, struggling on the stack side of things as he gets burnt down ever so slightly there. Sib starting to turn up the pace. Both of them constantly warring right now as the transfer of damage is just ludicrous.
DaHanG stacking up well. He doesn't need to go into the fight yet. He's going to assume that Sib now is going to outstack him, considering the Mega health behind, and Sib can go for that. Is Sib going to go for that? Sib? Sib does a Mega. Sib? This is a big misplay from Sib. But the thing is, DaHanG doesn't know that the Mega's still up, so as far as anyone's concerned, there's no Mega. Well, DaHanG spots it now. He gets full control. Ooh. Sib's 100-100, and this is where the lead could soon disappear. Items were taken recently. The thing is, DaHanG hasn't been getting any entry damage into the fights. He needs to hit just a rocket, and that might be enough to go in, but brilliant retaliatory rails.
Saved by the pillar there, or else that would have been a rail straight to the lips, taking him down. DaHanG, funnily enough, the man that was so much further ahead in terms of the overall stack, now just gets annihilated in a matter of seconds, as Sib has proven to be a sniper with a hell of a scope, trying to take out a cop or two as he fires out the warning shot, switches out to the rocket to try and rip him apart, but he can't quite blow him to bits just yet.
Still incredibly comprehensive from Sib, but the thing is, now it's getting to crunch time. You're coming over to closing out the game. Oh, the totem puts in the way. That blocks the view for DaHanG. That's another one. Can Sib hold on for 1 minute and 15? This is such a great lead to have. He's doing brilliant damage off of DaHanG's spawn. Heavy does get taken from him, but this is kind of like the last hurrah from DaHanG. He just eats so much damage going through the teleporter. Where did DaHanG go?
He's just disappeared. He's
Just
straight
gone.
out of there. Now this is way worse, because it's the fact that, oh, this is actually an awkward position to be in where you really don't have much time at all. Sib, he looks like he's still happy and hungry to try and fight to just get an extra kill just for the style points as well on the way through here, as he seems like he's pretty confident that he has walked away with the victory, at least on the second map, and they are going to split it. They're going to go 1-1 in maps. There's no way DaHanG can bite back at this point. It is going to be the concede coming through from him here.
This has just been awesome from Sib.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been showing skills on multiple different champions, against multiple different champions, on the hard maps. I know he feels confident here. Nice little nail jump as well. That was pretty sweet. Oh, now we've really got a series on our hands. Now I'm not really entirely sure what to expect on our last map, which is it's going to be Blood Covenant. Says spicy all of a sudden. DaHanG, I mean, these are precious points that he should be getting. This is, God, it must be second place NA versus, in the global leaderboards versus, you know, bottom 2 on the global leaderboards. He should be getting 8 points here. So Sib is, this is a big result for him, not just for today, but that could lead into the pivotal moments later in the league.
Especially when you factor in that this could have been obviously a 2-0 as well for Sib, and the difference of 1 frag. That's all it was that decided that, which is pretty darn crazy.
Yeah, exactly. We've got the global leaderboard here. We can see the difference where they are. DaHanG is 9th, but he's the 2nd overall NA, and obviously there's been a whole load of other games that have been going on already. But yeah, I mean, really nice work from Sib. This is making the last map now incredibly exciting. Blood Covenant is still a very good map for DaHanG. I gotta say, wasn't expecting a map to be taken by Sib, but maybe you can do it. Maybe I'll become a believer.
Yeah, I mean, it's a rare treat to be given, so there's only more that can potentially go down like that, but only time will tell, really. In terms of the actual accuracy and overall understanding, Sib looks like he's really coming into his own right now. This was actually just more amusing than anything.
I almost want like the Benny Hill theme tune or something like that alongside, because at that point, if you're DaHanG, you just don't have much you can do. If you go down to the bottom, if you've got rockets, you can rocket jump out, but it feels like such a counterproductive thing to do because you're hurting yourself. But otherwise, what ends up happening? You just go back up and up and up, and you just can't exchange the damage like they can.
The shots that he was landing were really quite beautiful. Sib, though,
he was so calm and collected, though, the whole time. And a lot of the important shots that he needed to do, not even something that would lead up to a kill, but something that would prevent DaHanG from having the stack needed to pressure within the next 15 seconds. He was just delaying the time for DaHanG to make that comeback. It was really an incredibly comprehensive, top-tier performance from Sib. And, well, what we're going to be seeing played, it is going to be... Let me look through my list. We're going to have Nyx versus Visor. That's very interesting. Sib on Nyx, Visor by DaHanG. Very close matchup in my opinion. A lot of people say, well, if Visor's got piercing sight, it means you can see Nyx through Ghost Walk. The thing is, unless you synchronize abilities, then Nyx has got better mobility and can all of a sudden play tricks on you anyway. So it's not really clear-cut as counter to player. No. They kind of counter each other depending on the context of the game, which is another thing that makes Quake Champions really interesting, because it's not as clear-cut black and white like that. It's all down to how you're actually playing the champions themselves. Yeah,
which potentially provides us with a lot of odd nuances when we get into this one. You never really know how it's going to go down. Obviously, Nyx itself can instantly just open a whole different kettle of fish with a playstyle. We've seen that pretty much throughout today. Visor, again, more clean-cut and obviously, you know, super simple to understand, but if played correctly, can give you way more of an edge than you'd actually expect. So it's really just going to be a matter of how this one goes. But we are getting back into it. The third and final map now between these two demons on the battlefield that have been proving just how effective they can be. Sib, he's been coming in with some upset potential. Is this going to be a sad state of affairs for DaHanG? Instantly popping the Ghost Walk, as he does not fancy dying in the first couple of seconds.
I like that he takes the opportunity to get the rockets, which is something that normally along that path isn't immediate. And now he's being able to get the items afterwards. So I think a really good decision on that. But DaHanG just shuts him down. He had no idea that he was coming towards him. And yeah, Sib takes a beatdown. I really liked what he was doing, but DaHanG just seemed all over it. Has a good read on what was going on. Had recently used the piercing sight and is going to find him over at the rail. great start for DaHanG.
Yeah, it's a big opener. The rail as well. It's pretty darn sublime as he's going to be able to instantly get the adjustment up there with a nice little flick of the wrist. Graceful glide across to grab himself the Mega to play with. As we hit that minute mark, already 2 kills found for DaHanG. He now knows where Nyx is going to be hiding away as well. And there's no squirreling out of position this time as he will chase him down.
He forces the Ghost Walk, does spot him. Heavy Boo, the next big item, but I think he might just want to chase this down a little bit. Drop is risky play to make. I'm not sure if that was actually worth it. We'll have to see, where does Sib spawn? And can he punish fast? Health and armor is being collected, so it looks like it turned out very well for him, but you can frequently see comebacks happening immediately after. And DaHanG's rail is on. One thing we didn't see well enough from him last week is his rail damage. Wonderful fourth. Now that he's actually hitting, it becomes very difficult. If Sib wants to compete, he has to be hitting basically more rail than DaHanG. Oh, little nail drop he got from Sib. He gets himself rockets. It's cute.
Yeah, it's a good play style as well coming through from DaHanG right now. Complete control of the map overall and constant connections coming out. Be it lightning gun, be it rail gun. He's just landing all of the shots that he needs to. The follow-up with the rocket as well with a near miss. Closely followed up by the railgun shot that comes across as he hits the nice bit of damage we need to see coming out.
Oh.
Sib, he's been so defensive into this one, but the visor pop's going to come through at least. He gets him so low again. He's had him so close to death now, a matter of times.
Sib is collecting the heavy from this, though. That's a big resource to have. If you can find the HP to back it up and have the ammunition, then he's not in a commanding position, but he can do good damage. And DaHanG gets caught out in the air. The rail follow-up from Sib lands. More of those clutch rails is exactly what we need to see.
Ooh, the drop through.
This is good trapping. He's got limited health. Shotgun can help hurt a lot close range. Oh, the nails too! Watch out for them! He should get the spawn over by Heavy, but now he's got to do all that work to get the weapons again, and it's going to kill some time. Despite being in the early game, you do not want to set yourself back like that.
No, not at all if you can avoid it. Curious as well about the position there. He didn't quite know where Sib was going to be getting away to, using that to try and escape out and quickly establish himself in a better position off the back of the fight. Goes in and actually find himself a couple of hourglasses to play with though, and starts to restock that arsenal. Does have the lightning gun, but it's low on ammunition. It's a quick transfer over towards the rail gun, but he's not landing those shots. It's so many near misses, and Sib, he's so low. It won't take much to finish him off as he puts a bullet straight between his eyes.
Very, very close there. Dangerous game being played by DaHanG, but he's executing on the shots he needs to.
Ooh.
Sib almost eats a full rocket, but he gets the full rail instead. This is phenomenal from DaHanG. He's hitting so much at the moment. He's going to be wishing he hit this versus Rapper. But that tri-bolt tells him to get the hell out.
Positioning there was smart. He had a good idea of roughly where Sib was going to be coming from. However, they've completely trained in portions of the maps now. They're going to try and restock themselves at least to have more to play with. The rocket could actually be very effective. It's going to pop the visor so we can go for the peek across. One railgun tag coming through. And just a mere rocket going to be casted out towards him.
We're not going to be able to lock out the next. Sib will be... This is just... unbelievable reactions that we're getting from him. Forcing out the Ghost Walk yet again. Half decent read. Suddenly some damage is out. And he's hurt him. What? Oh. These rails from DaHanG. This is just silly at the moment. I think Sib might realize the direction he's going and knows that he can get himself to mega health. Oh, he hasn't got there yet. He knows exactly where he is. He's going to rush through. Just misses the jump for a second, and maybe that is the difference between getting a line of sight on Sib and not.
It's gracefully making his way through the air. The rapid movement is going to be the edge that he currently has, although when they spot each other on the bridge, it's just a mere trade of damage across either side. We're over the halfway point now as well, so if Sib's going to start to get into the action, he needs to bring it back relatively soon. He can't afford to waste too much more. The pop is going to come through. That's the backstab from the lightning gun. A very smart read as well, as Sib will walk into that rocket and get blown to bits.
I don't think that was 100 damage, but they're still nasty to take. Yeah, as soon as Sib used his Ghost Walk and was still at nail gun, that was a frag. Comfortably so. He's just getting caught out and his Ghost Walk's being forced too much before DaHanG's doing enough damage. And this should be one also. Getting found down in the blood pool, perfect weapon choice. 8-1. I think DaHanG is mad from what's been happening early in the series, and he's now trying to just, alright, let's close it out. Let's get this off the points that I want, and then see where we're at.
Yeah, I suppose it's one of those where at the very least in his mind, if he thinks, alright, well if I get the 2-1, at least I'm getting the majority of the points, it's the best I can get. He doesn't want to concede anymore. He's realised that it's way closer than it needed to be.
Well, if you think about it though, if DaHanG only gets the 4 points, and say the likes of Nosfer's getting 8 points or so on, this is a matchup that DaHanG's not going to be able to, probably not going to be able to repeat. I mean, this is what can be the difference between coming top 2 in the Americas, getting yourself into the quarterfinals, and not. To me, this whole series, no matter what happens on Blood Covenant, is a really pivotal result that I think we'll be looking back on weeks down the line and thinking, well, DaHanG, you know, things could be different if you took that match.
Yeah, it very much could be. In terms of the overall rankings, obviously that's what we're talking about. The longer it goes on, the more we'll see how that affects things. But right now, what's being effective is Sib's chance of living. That is getting lower and lower as time passes by. He is luckily given a bit of a grace period to attempt to try and find some health items to play with to bring his stack back up. A very near miss there from the rail. Continued up with a rough follow-up shot as well from DaHanG, as he's going to now start to aggress as the tag comes back to haunt him.
A little bit of runaway. Problem is running away is not enough. DaHanG's just been on his tail constantly. And I'm trying to think of a time that Sib's really got himself full lockdown control. It's just not really... He got the early frag, but it just went backwards on him so soon afterwards. And since then, I think DaHanG has just been almost unstoppable in control.
Ooh. Small shot coming across. So close towards each other, DaHanG. He's just been playing this game of cat and mouse and consistently chasing. Sib, if he is going to get into the game, it would need to be absolutely miraculous, and the chances of it happening are so marginal, so incredibly slim. And all he's doing is essentially playing to stay alive now as well. Even then, it's at a point where you have to be aggressive. That is your only shot.
Yep.
And instead, he's trying a turtle.
Yeah, get himself 25 health. As long as his weapons are okay, then, you know, he can make a crack of this. Gets the jump across, damage isn't bad at all, hits the rail. Like, that's a really nice frag. The only problem is he just doesn't have the health. Ooh, that was tasty. You got another one of those? DaHanG's just running up the LT stairs. Paying some respect to himself. Let's not let things get silly now.
No, that makes sense as well. Literally just play for the delay tactics at this point. You know you've got such a huge lead to work with. Literally just burn down time. Sib is going to start getting frustrated at this point. It's really not worth the peek coming around from DaHanG. He's trying his best to reposition and move around, gets himself into an elevated angle to try and take on the 1v1. Ghost walks in, he's behind, but it's expected, and DaHanG will instantly destroy it.
It's like, go for it. Oh, he sees me. You see the mask and you're like, yep. Probably heard it as well. But Sib's still throwing us some nice little jumps. He's not bad at them at all. Success rates are decent. But I think Sib's still going to be happy about this. At least he should be. You know, no one should ever be happy losing, but you know, when you're taking one step at a time in the pro scene, you've got to take the positives for what they are.
Yeah. Can't let it frustrate you too much at this point, really. You know, you got to be happy with the extra points you got there. It looks like this is going to be the end. He was hoping to get a humiliation on the way out, but instead it is going to be the straight-up victory. DaHanG ahead of the curve there, as he will come home with the win in a 2-1 split versus Sib.
I'd still call it an upset, though. That's the funny thing.
Yeah?
It's still an upset, and you know, Sib fans out there, Sib himself, should be absolutely delighted with that result. That is forward progress in terms of him developing as a pro Quake player. We need to see more of that. I'm really excited to see more matches from him this league.
Yeah, I think it can only go better from this point onwards, right? It's basically given us sort of a bit of an insight into sort of the style of play he has here from what he's brought out to the table. It was looking very effective. The benchmarks were good. If that's kind of all we were taking at face value as well, we were like, look, DaHanG's going to win this, but how close is it going to be? Incredibly is the answer to that. And also literally the potential where this could have gone 2-1 in favor of Sib as a whole based off of one singular frag on the first map there. So it's a whole lot more Wild West than we expected.
I mean, Squeaky Bum Time is rightly placed in that situation, right? That was seriously close, and honestly, when it was in overtime, I'm thinking, you know, on paper, Clutch wins this matchup. This is what happens, and I think Sib made so few errors during that entire game, but he chose to make like his biggest error in sudden death, in my opinion. So completely, if that happened, like holy hell, man, that's enormous. And the thing is, we've got such sick matches coming up, and we've already been feasting on you know, what's been, I think, above expectations now.
Yeah, I would be very inclined to agree. I feel like we've been given some fantastic games today, and theoretically, if